Welcome to Watkins Glen. It is finally here, Season 4 of the 2019 official iRacing Formula Renault 2 Championship. And I've started the season with my brand new livery. The qualifying grid there on screen, Ben Hoffman put it on pole by about a second. And it is lights out, and away we go. I don't make the best getaway again. I tried to reduce wheel spin and I'm down to 4th at the first corner. Really not a good start. Valinas and Hansen got the better of me there. The plan is to get my head down, get these first few laps out the way, because when we're all bunched together like this, that is when there is the most risk for one of us getting involved in an accident. But as you can see, I'm quickly on the back of Hansen's black and orange McLaren inspired car. Unfortunately, he goes quite defensive, and it's not really an opportunity to overtake at this corner. It's also a chicane where it caught me out a lot in practice. I was really spinning out, and it catches a few other people out as well. You will see plenty of evidence of that later in this video. Whilst I've got a spare moment, I thought I'd throw out a couple of shout-outs to some very talented YouTubers who have been supporting me. Simon Watton, or Mr. Watton, as his handle is on YouTube. If you're a fan of Euro Truck Simulator, check him out. Or if you're a fan of trains, games and automobiles, give AJ Can't Fail a follow. And if you're a fan of bad driving, definitely give AJ Can't Fail a follow. He's the only guy I know who can roll a car in Gran Turismo Sport. So, back to the race at hand. You'll see now the gap opening up between 2nd and 3rd place, of which I am stuck behind. Hoffman, Valinas, then a gap, Hansen and myself. And I really want to get past him because going into this race, I know I'm good for a 2nd place. Coming up to start lap 2, I'm right behind Hansen, and just as I pull out, he pulls out to cover at the same time, which annoyed me at the time. I mean, we're not in the braking zone or anything, but I did have to lift off the throttle. He runs wide, I give him space to come back in the track, and again he's just going to come across, and the S's are not a place to overtake. I've seen a few people try to do it, and it usually ends in tears, because you're just sweeping across the track with the racing line, and any gap quickly closes. So you see just how much faster I am down the straights. I go to the outside, but he doesn't give me any room, and I've got to go to the grass, and iRacing's really unfair here. It slaps me with a 1.5 second penalty that, because I'm not in a safe space to slow down, it quickly starts ticking up to 2 seconds. So I really have to slow down now, and I go down to 12th position. Really frustrating, as I was avoiding an incident. I didn't make any time, but iRacing dictates corner cutting, have a time penalty. So now, ladies and gentlemen, the overtaking masterclass begins. I'm back up to 11th already. I think the guy ahead had a bit of wheel spin coming out of the hill. Heading up towards turn 9, a tricky corner because the road cambers towards the outside, so it's very easy to get the back of the car out of shape here. And then through corner 10, where I make a lot of time up on this black car, he gets caught behind the yellow. I catch up and I just dive for that position, and it's a clean overtake, which is more than can be said for the car that tried to follow me through, and the black car's been put into a spin. Talking of spins, as I record this, I've just watched the Singapore Grand Prix, and Vettel did not spin, so that was nice to see Vettel back on the top step, although I kind of think the win belonged to Leclerc. Bit of a shame he got diddled out of his win by the Ferrari strategy, but then it was the same strategist that gave him his wins in the previous 2 races, so I guess he can't be too mad about that. So I've come up to this Julian Palmer lookalike Renault, and I managed to force my way past, gain a place, and gain 2 more in the process. It seems a couple of drivers have had an off on that chicane. We'll jump ahead now to the next lap, lap 4, behind the GoPro branded car of Robson Carvalho. given my experience a couple laps ago with this corner, I think best of it. I'm not going to try and do anything daring. I'm just going to follow him through, and I'll find another corner to overtake him at. I've caught him up quite easily. I should be able to get by. I think some drivers don't have the confidence of the back end of the car, which is perfectly understandable, and I'm almost on the grass there. I'm sick of people pushing me to the outside or making me go the long way round, so I think at that point I was prepared to put a wheel on the grass just to get that inside line. So this early in the season, I'm not quite sure I'm bold enough to be taking people around the outside yet. Just want to get some good results and get some points under my belt. Because in iRacing, it's not so much the position you get, but more dependent on the strength of your opposition as to how many points you get. So I've caught back up to this plain white car, much quicker than him down the straight. It's possible I'm running a lot less wing than him, or we have our final gear ratio slightly different, but he backs off. He maybe realises that I'm going to pass him anyway, and it's not his battle. And some people, quite rightly, they just want to have a clean race to finish the race. If it's their first race of the season, you just want to get some points on the board. The beauty of iRacing is that because the league has so many people, and obviously people are online at different times, you can enter around as many times as you like. Just going to interrupt myself here. Look who it is. Do I get past him more easily this time? Thankfully, yes. He's had a bit of trouble coming out of that corner, possibly a bit of wheel spin, and I'm able to take advantage. I am now back up into 4th position, and this is only lap 5 out of 20. So anyway, regarding iRacing's official race league rounds, yes, you can enter as many times as you like. So for me, this is my 3rd attempt at the Watkins Glen race. Attempt 1, I was running in 2nd, but then lost it on the inner loop chicane. That was frustrating. I hit the wall, I had to pit, and I finished 7th. 2nd attempt, I was taken out by a lower ranked driver on the 2nd corner in those S's. I was following the racing line, and somebody decided to put their front wing in a gap that was always going to close, and that's all they got there, their front wing, and they just clipped my back wheel, pit manoeuvred me, we both spun, I smacked the barrier. That was my race effectively over immediately. So we aimed blame at each other. They said I should have looked in my mirrors, but I kind of think they should have just backed out of a move that was never going to work. Just a little note, even though what you see here is my mirrors are black, when I'm actually racing I have a mirror sort of at the top of the screen rather than in the mirrors. It's like a easier graphical option. Otherwise I get a bit of stuttering if I have the actual mirrors showing what's actually behind me. So let's talk about this gorgeous livery I'm running at the moment, which is the Racing Pride livery. And who are Racing Pride? Well, in their own words, Racing Pride is an innovative movement developed in collaboration with the Stonewall charity and actively promotes LGBTQ+ inclusivity in the motorsport industry. So it was founded by Richard Morris and Christopher Sharp. Richard Morris is a driver in the Radicals series, and Christopher Sharp, I believe, is an Autosport Academy member. A couple other notable names within Racing Pride are Thierry Courtois. I'm not sure if I've pronounced that properly, but he is a creative designer at Mahindra Racing, the Formula E team. So I look forward to hopefully meeting him when the London E-Prix comes around next year. Also part of their core team is Matt Bishop, who is the W Series Communication Director and the former Communications Director at the Formula 1 team McLaren back when Lewis Hamilton was a driver for them. And it was actually the same Matt who met with me at Brands Hatch, showed me around and introduced me to Sarah Moore, one of the W Series drivers, who is also part of Racing Pride. And yeah, everyone who I've met who is part of Racing Pride, Richard Morris, Charlie Martin, Matt Bishop, Sarah Moore, they've just been wonderful people to get to know, to meet, and they've been very supportive of my efforts to get into the motorsport industry. I do actually need to give a big shout out, a big thank you to somebody. I forgot to do it last time, which was really bad of me. I was trying to say everything in a small amount of time and kind of overlooked this. So when I met Jess Shanahan, the racing mentor, I had no idea she was there. I only found out she was there by a race driver friend of mine who races Formula 4 in Australia. His name is Josh Ben, and it must have been the middle of the night in Australia. He shared the Instagram post of Jess Shanahan holding her book, saying the first person who finds me gets a copy of the book. So I began running around the W Series paddock like a headless chicken, trying to find her. And I noticed in the photo that she had the W Series bracelet. And I thought, well, if she's in a restricted area, I won't be able to find her. It would be impossible for the average fan to find her. So I'm checking out her photo and she seems quite unique. I should be able to find a person in a bright turquoise jacket with pinky red hair. There's not many women wearing those colours. But it still took me about half an hour to find her, and I'd nearly given up. I turned around and just saw turquoise jacket, pinky red hair, walking away over to where the garages are. And then I don't remember thinking much. I just ran over to her and just blurted out something like, "Oh my god, you're the racing mentor, aren't you?" And I think she was a bit bewildered and like, yes. In fairness, I probably terrified her, but we hung out for a while. She was really lovely. I got the copy of the book, and then I got her and Charlie Martin to sign it, and I still have that book. So I think I'm describing everyone as lovely, but that's because they were. So I've no idea how, but I've caught up to Valina's. I spot he has a damaged wing, and thankfully he pops into the pits to go repair that. So thus is my surge back to second place completed. So we skip ahead to the last lap. The rest of the race was smooth and thankfully for me uneventful. Unfortunately I couldn't close the gap to Ben Hoffman. If anything, he widened the gap by generally about half a second each lap. But yeah, he is a driver with double my high rating and much more experience in iRacing than me, so I'm happy to take that second place. So there you go, Richard, the first time out for Racing Pride, and we've got a podium, which puts us fourth in the championship table. So, race highlights. I thought I'd show some interesting moments from other people's race, and it seemed like the perfect time to tell you about how you can get started and the equipment you'd need to start sim racing. It's quite easy to get started with iRacing. All you need is a PC and a steering wheel and pedal set. If you haven't got a proper racing seat, don't worry, the steering wheels can usually just clamp or bolt onto any desk. And you'll of course need a monitor, but preferably you can have 3 monitors or the Oculus Rift HTC Vive virtual reality setup. And that is literally all you need to get started, and then as you spend more time in it and you feel you want to take it more seriously, then you can start thinking about upgrading your equipment to bigger brands like Fanatic, getting a proper racing seat like the one I use by Playseat. There is generally equipment out there for every budget. And when you sign up to iRacing, you can't just jump straight in your favourite car, be it Formula 1 or GT. Like real life, you have to start at the bottom. You start in the Mazda MX-5 rookie class, which is just a class where you prove that you're a safe driver, and then you go on for your D license, and then that progresses C, B, A, which unlocks progressively more powerful and interesting cars. Formula Renault are quite easy to access, you only need a D license. So thanks for tuning in to Cammie Racing, and I hope to see you guys on the track.